Love and blessings, beautiful people. My name is Elisabeth. I'm a holistic doula and women's health coach, currently residing in the prairies of Canada. I've been helping families since 2018 with women's reproductive health. Today's video is going to be about trying to conceive and having proper nourishment during that stage of life. Firstly, if you made it here, then you are currently on a journey to conceive a child. I must wish you the best congratulations. I always like to preface my videos by saying that every body is different, and with nutrition, it's very hard to pinpoint what your body will need. I personally have taken multiple tests determining what my body could use more of. My favorite so far has been a hair and saliva test. That way, I've been able to determine what I've needed for vitamins and minerals, and this has been found through holistic and naturopaths, herbalists, etc. provide these tests. So although I'm suggesting some great ideas here, without already knowing what you need, this might just scratch the surface. So first, let's talk about the number one thing we need to do when it comes to food. We need to always check the food labels before consuming. If the food that you're eating can't be hunted for, foraged, or gathered from a garden, it's probably not something you want to be eating. And although I might hurt some people by saying this, it can be considered fake food. Oh, I know, how dare I? And I'm sure the comments will have something to say about how I look and fake food, but let's not talk about that right now. With that being said, we also would consider them non-nourishing foods. So having excessive processed food can at times do more harm than good. I was brought up with a saying, and kind of a motto we lived by, that everything should be done in moderation. That eating excessively of one thing can be bad for anyone, even with non-processed food, like berries, for example. That's why with trying to conceive, this is not the time to be going on some fad diet or a specific one that eats only of one food group. Hypothetically, the carnivore diet. Although I do love a few steaks at a time, I wouldn't want to eat an excessive amount of them. So, let's get into the subjects. Let's talk berries. And please, in the comments below, let me know what your favorite berry is. If you like raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, all of these contain antioxidants. These help detox the body and lower inflammation. They can protect your sperm, they can boost ovulation, they can support egg quality. They were also considered great for the egg and the sperm to meet, that connection, which if we want an embryo, a little baby, it's a very important aspect to be thinking of. Let's move on to whole grains. Let me tell you, there was a study done in 2015 that whole grains were beneficial for male infertility. Another study also showed that it was beneficial for the cases of assisted conception, i.e. IVF, IUI, etc. Now, for people listening that do have some issues with gluten, it might be like aw, shucks. Again, I'm not a medical professional, but I have heard and have been taught that sourdough may be beneficial in that case. And if you ensure that it is created with whole grains, that could be supporting your body as well. But I'd look into that for yourself. That's just a tip. This one I'd really like to suggest because a lot of breads made and found in our local grocery stores, although claiming to be whole grain, at times can cut corners and not be. I am not at the stage of conception myself, but I consider fertility a necessary component of preconception needs as well. I.e., although I don't want a baby right now, I got to keep everything functioning and my fertility be up to top gear. So I'm always trying to care for my body in terms of preparing for the future. Unfortunately, when eating store-bought bread, I do have quite an intolerance and have found since my mother and sister switched to baking at home, I can enjoy breads and other whole grain items. Plus, this is a great one to recommend to your partner as well. Moving on to one of my favorite topics now. A study was done and can be found online about whole milk and whole fat milk being beneficial in ovulatory disorders, which is a cause of infertility. Milk straight from the cow contains 4% or more butterfat. The actual percentage depends on the breed of the cow that made the milk, whether or not she was pregnant when giving milk, and her feed, as well as the season. Little fun facts for you all to know. Earlier in 2024, I had my first milk cow on our homestead. I drank raw milk for 3 months straight. Sadly, she passed away, and our raw milk also went with it. since in Canada it's illegal to purchase raw milk. I have anemia and have had anemia since I was about 12 to 13 years old. I never had felt more energy than I did in those moments, drinking raw milk, that is. And it was the most time consuming, most output of work that I had ever done in such a long time. So, looking at the dairy you consume on the daily can be just one starting point to possibly see improvement. Before we get into my final tip, I just wanted to let you know that I am so proud of you for A, making it this far, and B, for looking into ways to take better care of yourself. If you're looking for any support on your fertility journey, please feel free to contact me at the email in the description. Having a fertility doula on your team can make such a difference in your journey, and the number one thing is the level of support to care for you. Now, let's get back into things. In traditional Chinese medicine, they say that the kidney root and source energy is necessary to produce good, high-quality eggs and sperm in order to conceive. Bone broth is something they recommend to support your fertility and to build your yin. I'll put it written down below. You can purchase bone broth from your local natural food stores, or it's as simple as getting one of your chickens, or in our house we use beef bones too, stick it in a crock pot with water, and normally it can take up to 12 hours, but the longer it sits, the more collagen it comes from it. From someone who drinks bone broth, do note that it depends on the bone. It can usually taste like that. I find if you have beef bones, well, it tastes like beef, and chicken bones, chicken, and so forth. So that's what I'd recommend as your final tip for bone broth. So to recap everything we talked about, if you want to focus on getting better fertility health, you want to focus on having berries, whole grains, fat-filled dairy, and bone broth. Regardless of what you choose from these tips, trust that any small difference you make will help. Now with anything, it does take time. Often it can take up to 3 months for some to see the results of change. But you are making a difference for your body. And even if it just results in a healthier and happier you, this can benefit your body beyond belief. So if you choose to go IUI, IVF, regardless of your method of conception, in the end, it's still helping you. It's making a difference. Thank you so much for watching another video. Make sure to subscribe and find more tips like these. Peace.